Anxiety. Do you know the triggers? Hi, I'm Talonda, and I like to talk to you about ways that you can enhance your life so that you can have a life that you love and deserve, even in the midst of chaos. You can have a high quality, balanced life. It might take some things you have to do and work through, but you can do it. I share my life experiences, my challenges and everything, or just my thoughts regarding certain topics that may help you to find ways that you can work on yourself and ultimately design the type of life that you deserve. So, welcome. So, I want to talk about anxiety because I had a recent situation that happened, and first, I want to say that for the all my life, I've struggled with anxiety, generalized anxiety disorder. That is has been a part of me since mm, since I've known. I've never um I haven't been diagnosed officially until later on in life, but I always had it. Just matter of figuring out what was going on, why I was doing this, why this was happening, and starting to realize what it is. And I have my reasons why, just some childhood things that occurred in my life that were very difficult for me to deal with, and it spilled over into my adult life. So anyway, recently I had an event that occurred. I call it, I would say, the garage door disaster. Where I accidentally misjudged um, when to back out of my garage. That's what it was. I pushed the button and backed up at the wrong time, and it caused a terrible, terrible situation. My garage door was had fallen down. Everything, it was ruined. My particular uh, property is fine. The only thing that was damaged was the actual garage door, so thank God. I do have a little minor thing that I may have to get fixed on my car, but it's not anything that is preventing it from being drivable or anything like that. It's still fine. So anyway, I have been keeping up with the latest news. Now, I will say this, let me say this. I am doing a lot of things to distract myself. One of the things that I do and that I actually love is I'm a mystery shopper, and I love it, and it's wonderful, and it gives me so much joy, and it's so much fun. It's a wonderful way to make money. And if you're interested in that, shoot me a comment and I'll tell you more about it. But this isn't really about that right now. I'm just saying that because that is one thing that has really helped me these days. I tend to get overwhelmed and get a lot of anxiety over um, situations I see happening in the world. I'm that type of person who just wants everyone to just show love and be unified and care for each other as human beings. Like, what's so hard about loving your fellow humans? I'm very passionate about humanity. And so it's extremely hard for me when I see people doing evil things happening, people being wicked, and just terrible things happening among humans. It really gets to me. And that is one thing about me that makes it hard for me sometimes to deal with life. Because in my mind, I have this save the world mentality and I want to just help everybody. But of course, everybody doesn't want to be helped, especially the racists and bigots who um really just it's just it really bothers me to see people like that. Like, why are you like this? But anyway, those people, you try to reach, and I know it's not going to be something that I really can do on my own. I know it's something they have to work on and they have to come to see it as time goes on. But it is something that bothers me. I hate to see that. And I just wonder why. Like, why would you be like that towards someone over their ethnicity or skin color? That's just so superficial and stupid to me. But I know it goes deeper than that. I know that. But just on the surface, it just feels like, what? And so I try to help people and talk people through it, and try to have these conversations sometimes with racists to help them to see what they're doing. And of course, it doesn't really work, except for I would say out of the several times I have talked to people, maybe I'll say 10% of the time, people actually responded positively and I was able to help them change. Maybe a little bit, maybe not much, I don't know, but they did kind of walk away with a better heart. So, um, that has been something that was always bothering me. I don't usually get bothered by it as much anymore because I'm just like, I see it for what it is. It's just another evil that is there that has really plagued America and that tends to drive people to do some horrible, horrific things in this life. And so at the end of the day, no matter what it is, it's evil and wicked, and I just have to see it for what it is and move on. And so in this situation, there were a lot of things that happened on around September 10th, 11th that really, really affected me. Uh, and I would say it's probably a little bit of depression in there too, because I was really upset. I just felt like, oh my gosh, what is wrong with people? And why are they doing this? Why are they pointing the finger at these people over here or us over here when we don't have anything to do with it? And why is that? Why do they keep doing that? They're creating the problem and they keep on, they're perpetrating the issue, and then they're looking at us or looking at, when I say us, I'm talking about people of color or black folks. I'm not talking about us as quote unquote the left. I'm talking about us as far as black people or brown people or people who are non-white. Okay, but they do also do the same thing as far as the actual left, pointing the finger on the left and saying they did this and I'm just like, huh, but y'all the ones, I don't get it. Or, with the most recent situation that I don't want to get too much into, um, with the Charlie Kirk assassination, we didn't know much about the guy. It's still confusing about his whole backstory and why he did what he did, you know. But at the end of the day, the issue is not pointing the fingers here and here. The issue is there's a problem. There's a problem with gun violence. There's a problem with violence in general. There's a problem when people think that they can go run around, get a weapon, and just start killing people for no reason. Or maybe there is a reason, but still, they think they have the authority or you know, it's something inside of them that makes them want to be like that. Why are we not addressing that? And it's the same type of person every time. Don't get me wrong. Yes, there are instances where there are different people with different demographic. But what I'm saying is it's usually the same demographic of person. And so that particular demographic of person will spin it around and try to point the fingers at the rest of us. And we're just like, you're doing it. We're not the ones doing it. We're not the ones angry and upset. We're living our life trying to figure out how we can deal with what this administration has presented us. We're really not concerned about, running around uh trying to hurt and trying to harm and unalive people. That's really not our concern over here. However, I don't know. I'm just confused. So anyway, I think I know what it is. It's just, some people just want a reason to hate. They want a reason. They have to have a reason to fuel whatever is inside of them that's not right. They want to find a reason to continue to do that, to continue to be that way. And unfortunately, for the rest of us, we get the brunt of it, or we get blamed, or we feel like we get pulled into something that's really not our fault. We're not, we're just trying to live life and help everybody else get through life, get through these next few years so that we can actually be able to survive, you know? So we're not caught up in being racist and hateful towards other groups because these people over here, this or these people, we're not thinking about that. We're really not, but they are. They're focused, zeroing on We don't want these people here. We don't want this. We don't want that. So let's take it this way. Okay, take it away. We'll work through that. And they still are not happy. They still want to find a reason to blame everybody else for what they're doing. Okay, I went on my soapbox. I wasn't trying to go there, but I did. So anyway, let me get back to my original point. So that brought me a lot of anxiety. That the fact that it was September 11th, and then, the thing that happened at school shooting, that on the same day, it was just a lot of stuff. And it just got to me because I am at the core of who I am. Honestly, I just care about people. I have a love for humanity, and I want everyone to just stop this foolishness, get it together, get along, deal with their internal issues so they don't, negatively impact other people that have nothing to do with whatever it is they're going through. And so we could just live life and everyone be happy. But I know that's not necessarily reality, but I want to try to achieve that. I want to reach for that, aim for that as much as possible so we can get as close as possible to that. So in my heart of hearts, I was just disturbed. Well, my mind was very disturbed, and I had not taken any of my meds at that point because I do take mental health meds, and I'm not ashamed of that. We all have things in this life that we have to deal with. So, yes, I take things for anxiety, depression, ADHD to help keep myself together, to keep me calm. And in that moment when everything happened, I hadn't taken anything because it was so much that happened so fast before I could even get a chance to take something, try to calm down, and get through my day. Unfortunately, I didn't get to that point before I was just like so distraught about it and like, oh my God, why are they, what-" and I try so hard to ignore it or not even so much ignore because you can't really ignore things like this because it's every day in this country, but I try my best to um, not focus on it. I've joined groups, like we have a really great group with Darren Monroe called the Liberal Clarity Group. Shout out to Darren Monroe. He's awesome. And if you're interested, let me know and I'll get you help with getting in there. But it's basically, you know, we are together helping each other to kind of get past what's bothering us inside about what's going on in the world around us so that we can just have peaceful lives the way we want, and just do what we got to do to be able to live our lives and not always feel like, oh my gosh, this happened, this happened. That's craziness. Nobody wants to live like that. So I'm a part of that group and I do other things to help myself to maintain that calm, not to get nervous and because that's naturally who I am. I'm naturally nervous. I know you don't see that on screen. That's because I've done a lot of work. I put in a lot of work on myself, and that's what you're going to have to do in a lot of situations. It's internal work that you have to work on and that you have to do for yourself in order for you to get to a certain point in this life. Because true happiness and true joy is in you. It's not in other things outside of you. If you try to put your joy or get your happiness from other things, external things, you'll never make it because it's too crazy out here. One minute is this way, and the next minute is that way. You have to get right inside. And so I had been doing really well with that, and then suddenly this thing happened, boom. And I'm like, oh my gosh, really? I can't believe this. And so in that split second in my mind where I had gotten distracted and it was just in my face, it's not like I was looking for it. It was just like, everywhere you look, whether it's the TV, computer screen, your phone, everywhere, it just stuff just pops up. Breaking news, blah, 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 blah. And I try my best to be like, okay, okay. Even if it is breaking news, let me keep myself together and just kind of work myself through this and not get all crazed and freaked out about something that is probably not as bad as I'm thinking in the moment. But when it hits you, it's like, oh my God, what are they doing now? That's kind of how I tend to deal with that. So anyway, um, I had that split second of just like, oh my God. And that's when I made the mistake. and my garage door got caught into the back of my, I have a van, a big van, and I have a like those windshield wipers that are on the back window. It got caught onto that as it was bending up. I thought, oh my gosh. And at first we couldn't get out. Finally, we were able to release it and get the van out, and I could drive my daughter. But then when I came back, that's when the real issue happened. It didn't want to close, and I was trying to figure out what to do. I pushed the button thinking that, oh, it'll probably just kind of get back on the track. Maybe it was stuck, it's unstuck, maybe it'll go back down. No, that whole thing had broken, it just went whoosh, and I was just like, oh my God. And in that moment, I felt like that's how my brain was feeling. That's how I was feeling inside. That same way, like, I'm trying to keep it together in all this chaos. But every now and then, there's always one little thing will throw me off. And that's what happened. And so I know that I was having a bad day, anxiety wise. And it was just the morning. It was like first thing in the morning. So I had just woken up to find out all this crazy stuff. And I'm trying to get through my day, trying to take my daughter off to her school. And this happens. And so it's just like my mind in that split second had just kind of gotten distracted. That's all it takes, you know. And so I try very, 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 very hard to keep myself balanced every single day. I try to do different things. I try to eliminate certain triggers. And so I really wanted to talk about triggers. Um, and I'm going to go deeper into it in the next video because this video has gotten too long because I focused too much on the backstory. So this will be this video about the backstory of why and how this happened. And then the next video I'm about to do will we'll talk more about triggers and how we can avoid those triggers and just what we can do about it to keep ourselves from ending up in a chaotic situation or a crazy situation like I did the other day with my garage door. And it's hard. It only takes one time. It only takes one thing to happen to throw you off. So if you are anxiety ridden like me, follow me, comment, subscribe, like this video, and let's talk about it because we need to help each other. Hope you are having a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video.